Hi, I'm Aaliyah. I'm a New York chef who's passionate about exotic spices, traditions, and places. Welcome to my exotic table. Turkey has always been a crossroads for different cultures, religions, and cuisines. On my recent trip, it wasn't just the food that inspired me, but the people and their experiences. I got a chance to learn from chefs and cooks all over the country. Everything from outdoor bread baking in Ibrahim to learning how to stuff grape leaves in cosmopolitan Istanbul, to one of my favorite experiences, the art of baklava making in an old Greek village. I was in Cappadocia in Turkey. I got to spend the day making baklava with a bunch of ladies in an old Greek mansion. It was really fun, and I got to learn how they make yufka dough, which is the base of baklava. Here we use phyllo, and I'm going to use store-bought phyllo because it's a lot easier. But there they make their own yufka dough and roll out something like 33 sheets at a time. When I look at baklava recipes these days, I always see that people use phyllo, they paint butter on top of it, and they put another sheet of phyllo and paint another. It's just really time-consuming. This recipe is super fast. And the goal was just to create something that you could do in 10 minutes at home, if you had phyllo on hand and a few of these ingredients. We're going to start by clarifying the butter. We're going to heat it up without burning it, so that the milk solids separate from the oil. While that's going, because it's going to take a little time, we're going to toast up 3 different types of nuts for the filling: Marcona almonds, pistachios, and walnuts. After they're toasted up, we're going to grind them with a little brown sugar, salt, cinnamon, and a touch of clove. We tossed in the toasted nuts and a little bit of cinnamon. Now for a little brown sugar, about 2 tablespoons or so. I ground up some cloves in here. So we're going to throw in a pinch of ground cloves and about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And don't walk away from it because you don't want to overprocess the nuts. This is the perfect texture. It's not too coarse, but it's not too finely ground either. So the butter is almost clarified, and you can tell because when you take it out of here, and you have to do that carefully, you can see that all the milk solids have sunk right to the bottom. We have our filling, we have our clarified butter, and we have our phyllo dough. We're ready to assemble our baklava. But first, we have to grease up our pan. So you just want to unwrap this phyllo dough, place it on your board, and carefully roll it out onto it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut 2 circles out of it. Carefully place it at the edge. You want it at the furthest corner because you want to be able to get 2 circles out of it. You want to make sure you get through all of the layers. There we go. So now carefully take this circle of dough out and place it in your pan. Now we're going to cut out the second circle. Try to make sure you get the pan right on top of the phyllo dough so you can get all of the layers in there. So this is our first layer of dough that we've put in here already, and it's a double layer thickness. This one we're going to split in half. We're ready to put filling on this half. Then what I like to do is take your honey bear and just drizzle honey all over this layer. We're going to take half of this and create another layer. And you want to put the rest of the filling on here. And then this is our final layer. It goes right on top. Okay, now you want to cut your baklava. 4 across, 5 across, however big you like it. I'm going to do 4. Now we've cut through the baklava. We're going to pour the clarified butter all over it and let it sink in. And just pour it right on top. And don't bother with painting each piece. So we're just going to let this soak in for a minute or 2 and then put it right into the oven. We're going to let it cook for about 15 minutes at this temperature. Turn it down to 325 and let it cook for another 40 minutes or so. Okay, so while that's cooking, we can get started on our syrup. That's what we're going to pour all over the top of it to make it nice and sweet. I like to use equal parts water, about a half cup of white sugar, and a half cup of honey. This syrup is not too sweet. I'm not a big fan of overly sweet desserts. Two other ingredients I like to add. One I actually learned in Turkey, lemon rind. They usually put a little bit of lemon rind or orange rind right into their syrup. The other ingredient I like to add is my own addition, and it's vanilla bean. But the flavor is so rich and combines really well with the honey. Instead of trying to scrape it directly into the syrup, just put it back on this bean and toss the whole thing in. So let's get this syrup cooking. We're gonna bring it right up to a boil, lower it to a simmer, and let it simmer for about 5 to 7 minutes until it thickens up. Oh, that looks great. Now we're gonna pour in the syrup. You wanna do it when it's still hot and let the whole pastry cool with the syrup at the same time. I'm gonna take that little lemon rind out in a second. When it's hot, it's really gonna absorb the flavor well. The honey, the vanilla, the sweetness. I know it looks like a lot, but it'll all get absorbed in. This baklava is so quick and easy to assemble. If you have friends coming over and don't have anything, it cooks up in a pinch. And it's not too sweet, so a lot of people like it. Buttery, and the vanilla, great flavors. All the ladies in Turkey, Emin, Celine, the other Emin, Angie, thank you so much. Inspiration for my exotic table.